Most home service businesses do not fail because they can't find clients. They fail because they don't create a profitable business. It's not your equipment, it's not your clients, it's not your location. I'll be breaking down the bottlenecks that many home service businesses run into and how you can overcome them. I'm Lamar Capehart with Stevens Lawn Care, and we're going to be doing over $500,000 this year. And I created this challenge to attack things just like this, how you can overcome bottlenecks in your business and become more profitable. The goal of any home service business should be able to win. You want to win at the game of business. To do that, you got to stop thinking of it as a hobby. So some guys, especially in like lawn care, for example, you can mow on the side, you can mow on the weekends, or we mow when we were in middle school. So they don't really think of it as a business. They might want to go into HVAC or plumbing, or they think everything else is a real business. The only way you're going to be profitable running something like a lawn business is to make sure you're not treating it as a hobby. That means you're going to be thinking profits first. You want to be able to price everything out and make sure that whatever you're charging those clients, you're going to get enough back where you have some left over. This will allow you to grow. People aren't necessarily buying your service, they're buying that peace of mind, that consistency, and that reliability. So of course they can go mow the lawn, but they don't feel like it, or they're not consistent. Maybe they're only gonna mow once a month. Where somewhere like Florida, where we're at, it's gonna grow way too fast and way too often in the growing season to mow it once a month. So that's where we come in, and we're consistent and we're reliable. And you wanna eliminate or limit your favors. I say no favors here, but we all know that there's an old lady that need her lawn cut or something like that. We wanna keep that at a minimum or not do them at all. That's up to you. But everybody deserves some grace, but you can't sacrifice your bottom line. So even with my dad and some customers that we had early on fixed incomes, we still raised their rates, but we have it really low. They got a huge discount, but they were able to work with us. We don't really make any money on those accounts, but we keep those few. I mean, we might have 4 of those accounts and we got 250 accounts. So it's not really affecting the business as a whole. You want to keep that at a minimum. So if you want to help out the people at church, that's going to be one of your 4, but don't use that and apply it to everybody in the neighborhood. You won't make any money. When attempting to be very profitable, we have to manage our labor very closely. When you're in a home service business, labor is going to be your top expense. With that being said, I'm going to steal a line from Sam Gustin, my business coach. Hiring is a function of sales. What you mean by that is we build out all this marketing material to get new customers in. We need to also try to attract better talent. We have better workers, we'll be more efficient. They're going to save us money in the long run. You want to create systems. You want to document your processes. So whether it's admin, packaging, or mowing, we want to document how we want those employees to behave. So when you're creating those systems, it's like how to mow. For example, we edge first, we weed whack, and then we mow. Some people do it in different orders, but think about if you have high grass on that sides of your building. If you don't weed whack first and you mow first, when you come back and weed whack, you're gonna have those tall grass clippings laying down. They're not gonna be cut up very finely. So we edge, weed whack, mow, and then blow it off. So we would teach somebody that or document it. We have checklists. So after every job, they have property notes or a property checklist, and they go ahead and check off that they closed the gates, because that's a big one, right? We don't want dogs getting out. We want to make sure they blew off the back patio, that's checked off. You want to make sure that, when they left, everything actually looked cut. We've had situations where guys will show up, and with mowers, you have to drop the deck. Sometimes these guys do not drop the deck. You're just out there, we say making lines. You never cut the grass. So obviously you're gonna do that, and we have a before and after picture that they have to do. Hiring funnels, so we use Indeed mostly, and we have a website. Our website shows our career page, so people can come and put an application in, so you can constantly be gathering applications throughout the year. Setting expectations, so when we bring someone on, we tell them what we're expecting, a training period for 2 weeks, and then in 3 weeks, if you don't got it, it might not be a good fit, things like that, or how many yards we do a day, just expectations. And like I said, with onboarding as well. So we go over our employee handbook on their first day. We try and give them some swag. We get their shirt sizes so that we'll be ordering that. So you just kind of onboard or standardize your onboarding process. And then how you pay people. So we do P for P, which is performance-based pay. But you have guys that just want to pay straight hourly. Just make sure you're paying good enough to get some really good talent in the door. The reason that's important, I'm gonna give a quick math equation for my lawn care guys to show you why that's important. We might have guys that's not that experienced, so we're paying them $15 an hour then. And that's 30 bucks an hour for 2 helpers to go with this lead, but we're only paying the lead 18. So that was $48 an hour. Where you can up the talent, just like I was getting a lead here, a better helper at $18 an hour and paying the lead a couple more dollars an hour. And this is just their base. Our system right now, these guys are averaging $22 or more, but they're also doing more lawns than this. So you save 10 bucks an hour here, which adds up, but they're doing about the same amount of work. So this is very inefficient. So with that hiring philosophy, you're just gonna be hiring better, getting better systems, and be able to produce more and get more out of your employees if you're paying the proper rate, and you have systems to keep them accountable and train those guys up. Obviously, another huge driver of profits is your overhead. You wanna keep that relatively low. Most guys will buy brand new trucks and equipment, brand new trailer, brand new mowers, when you should probably instead buy a truck that's 2 to 5 years old. It's gonna be a little cheaper. Say 2 years, that's not that bad for a work truck. You wanna stay functional, so instead of a $12,000 enclosed trailer, why not get a $5,000 utility trailer? Unless you have a use case for things, you wanna pay as little as possible. Do you need a full-time admin, or could you outsource that to an answering service, or even better, AI? For example, we haven't had a full-time admin in a while. We use an answering service called Boss, or our AI, which is Good Call, and they taking a lot of calls. We haven't seen too much of an issue. Obviously, a full-time admin would be great, but when you're small, 150,000, 250,000, this is a huge expense. You can save a lot here, get back to people, answer basic questions, whatever you need to get done here. You want to limit your software, so don't sign up for any and everything. If you don't need something, don't sign up for it. But you want to try to keep that overhead as low as possible. If you're building your business not to fail, then automations in a CRM are not optional. This keeps you very, very organized. This improves your follow-ups, improves your scheduling, your estimates, your onboarding, meaning when you get a new customer, they get a welcome email, reminders, and things like that. If you have 10 customers, it's easy to remember what's going on. If you have 300 customers, you don't want to have unsatisfied customers because you forgot to message them, or forgot to go buy a quote, or forgot to send that invoice out. These are things that's going to be very easy if you have automations built out with your CRM. I don't believe it's optional whatsoever, and it's pretty affordable now. While running a business, you're always going to run into bottlenecks. You want to fix those bottlenecks with processes. You need to ask yourself, can this be documented or automated? So if something you do all the time, can you just automate that so it always goes out? For example, if you need to collect payments, which I have down here, you don't want to be chasing payments all the time. Can you send reminders? So you send that invoice on the 1st, you build a reminder to send a text and an email after 24 hours. You task yourself with a follow-up at 48 hours. At 72 hours, you send another reminder. But if you build those things out, you won't have to be like, oh, I forgot to collect payment. You definitely don't want to have that situation on hand. So you want to make sure you remove yourself from these things. Answering calls all the time. That's why I have an answering service or AI. Sending estimates. You want to build out a team or an admin team. Or our answering service, they do inbound estimates that they send out. Chasing payments, I just broke that down. Scheduling. You want to build out a dispatch workflow. So how do you schedule? Where do you schedule? For example, we have our Monday accounts, our Tuesday accounts. We can put those where they need to go based on zip code or location. And follow-ups, like I said, you want to task those things out. You want to build your business to be able to run without you. We all build our businesses to create freedom. We end up being slaves to it because you're doing all of this. You can't take a vacation to the Caribbean if you're answering calls all the time. You're gonna have upset customers, or you're the one collecting payments all the time. So you want to build this to run without you. And you can only do that with systems, and therefore your business wouldn't fail. The real goal of any business is not to fail, and it's to create predictable income, strong margins, strong cash flow, and a business that can scale. And creating all the things that we touched on this video is going to be able to allow you to do that, building that business that can run without you and that can scale really easily. That's what we're building at Stevens. If you need any help, continue to watch our videos, subscribe to the channel. We also got a school community that you can join, and it has a lot more information that'll show you step by step how to build that scalable business that can run without you and is too big to fail.